Hello, everybody. This is a honor and pleasure to have our friend, my friend Daniel. I can say this is the first time I have a friend that have the same person like me. And before we did the show, I told him, "Are you the Daniel in the Lion's Den or Daniel in the fiery furnace?" He told me I was Daniel in the Lion's Den, and then God, I was carry him for many, for many great things in his life. And then I'm so glad I can have Daniel Esposito in our podcast today. Daniel, how are you doing?
I'm great. I'm great. Thanks for having me. So I'm excited. This is actually going to be my first podcast. I don't know if you know that. So yeah, we found
Oh,
each other on Pod Match, and
wonderful.
yeah,
Great to hear.
yeah,
Thank you for
absolutely.
joining us. It's a
Hmm.
wonderful platform, Podmatch, that every podcasters, please join us. You're going to meet some wonderful guests, some wonderful hosts, so that can make you, fulfill your purpose on earth. Wonderful.
Great.
Our listeners, I'm going to introduce you to Daniel. Daniel Esposito, after being a top level athlete in his entire life, he developed autoimmune conditions that eventually led to multiple lifelong chronic pain diagnoses. He said, I knew that the only way I could serve my family was to fix it. I stumbled forward and backwards in my quest many times, but was determined to not only fix myself, but also learn as much as I could about these conditions so I could be of service to others. Wonderful, Daniel. It's
Yeah.
like you get the same purpose, you know. And then my purpose is in my podcast is, to inspire, motivate people, encourage them to obey God's word and serve others and serve others to their God-given gift. This is we get a wonderful, similar. It's a best of be of service of others. I created the undo method to give people a real solution to every other's undeserved population, the chronic pain population. This method can give people hope and faith that a life of pain does not have to be forever, and that there are alternative options to heal themselves naturally. Daniel, thank you for all your introduction that I saw in your platform, and I'm glad that the Lord happened, everything happened in your life
Yeah.
for a reason, and then you're going to be of service to others. Daniel,
Yeah.
welcome to the podcast tonight. How are you, my
Thank you.
friend?
I'm great. I'm great. I mean, I'm have a lot less pain than I used to. So
Okay.
every day is, I become less and less filled with these chronic pain conditions. So I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia,
Mm-hmm.
degenerative arthritis, told I needed 4 joint replacements, and a
Wow.
host of other things like frozen shoulder and restless leg syndrome and chronic regional pain syndrome. And right before my second, these conditions really all started around the time my first son was born.
Okay.
Due to a lot of reasons. I'd started a new business. A lot of it really, and a lot of us don't want to admit this, but we do this to ourselves. We
Mm-hmm.
feed ourselves into these chronic conditions because we
Mm-hmm.
don't know really a lot of the hidden dangers that are in food. But there were some physical and some genetic aspects to it
Mm-hmm.
as well, which I talk about in the undo method. But right before my second son was born, 3 months before he was born, I was 265 pounds. If I was going to turn my neck
Mm-hmm.
to talk to somebody, I had to turn my whole body.
Wow.
I couldn't sleep. Every single movement was a negotiation with chronic pain. Am I going to bend
Wow.
over to pick that up? Am I going to turn around? Because everything internally felt
Mm-hmm.
like I was filled with rocks.
Oh my goodness.
It feels like, fibromyalgia and chronic pain. It's like when you skin your knee on the
Mm-hmm.
gravel,
Mm-hmm.
but internally,
Okay.
right? And so it's a constant feeling. And right before my second son was born, I was like, I can't be the father that I,
Okay.
know my son deserves or both my sons deserve, or the partner in chronic pain. I said, I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
fix this. And it was a long road of just making a lot of mistakes, a
Mm-hmm.
lot of success, but with every little success came this amount of hope. Like, okay, a little piece of muscle loosened up. I have a little bit of, less pain there.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, if I can continue to keep doing this,
Mm-hmm.
will my whole body become pain-free? So,
Okay.
at 50, I was told I needed to get 4 joint replacements or start my joint
Wow.
replacements. And instead, I won 2 gold medals in the United States Track and Field Masters National Championship.
Mm-hmm.
I went on to become a 3-time All-American, ranked as a world-class master sprinter. And this was all, once again, after having these conditions that
Mm-hmm.
were irreversible, that were going to
Wow.
be lifelong chronic pain conditions. And, everybody that I talked to, every trainer,
Mm-hmm.
chiropractor, doctor, surgeon, et cetera, said there's nothing you can do. You're just going to have to manage. And that
My
wasn't
goodness.
yeah, that wasn't good enough for me. I needed to fix it. And I did. And so, one of the first things I ever did was learn about hydration. And there's a
Okay.
gentleman named Zach Bush. He's a
Mm-hmm.
doctor. He's a very
Mm-hmm.
spiritual, very religious doctor as well. He's gone to the natural side of the business. And he said, I don't think you can truly have a spiritual experience
Mm.
dehydrated when
Wow.
you're dehydrated. And I feel the same way when you're
Mm-hmm.
in chronic pain, because
Mm-hmm.
when you're in chronic pain, you're constantly in this state of fight or flight,
Wow.
right? Which is anxiety,
Anxiety.
right?
Okay, I get you.
And so, it talks about anxiety in the Bible quite a bit. And,
Mm-hmm.
it's an interesting thing. When you say your gratitudes, your anxiety starts to go away because that place sits in the same place in your brain.
Amen. That's true. That's true.
Yeah, yeah. And so I think so what I want to do is kind of go back to
Mm-hmm.
to how I feel that I was set on this path
Mm-hmm.
to help others reverse their chronic pain or at least give them hope that it's possible. So as a child, I went to a Lutheran church. Pastor
Mm-hmm.
Fox was my pastor, and
Okay.
Daniel and the Lion's Den was one of my
Yeah.
favorite stories.
That's
And
nice.
yeah, yeah. But life kind of got hard. My parents were divorced when I was young. My mother got remarried twice, and both of those guys were alcoholics,
Wow. So do you
abusive,
that.
and you sort of start losing your faith a little
Mm-hmm. I
bit
get
as things
understand.
like that happen. But there were 2 passages in the Bible that sort of pushed me over the edge, and I was probably looking for a reason not to believe in God at that point because you
Wow.
get you get sort of all these smart people who talk about evolution, and you
Mm-hmm.
want to be
Mm-hmm.
smarter
Mm-hmm.
than your parents when you're a kid,
Exactly.
and you kind of get indoctrinated into that world. But in the Bible it said don't eat swine for it's unclean,
Mm-hmm.
and don't mix linen and wool. And I
Mm-hmm.
thought, why would a God be so arbitrary in creating those rules?
Mm-hmm.
But it turns out that both of those things have massive implications in chronic pain. So
Wow.
the 2 things that sort of pushed me away
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
are 2 things that are very instrumental in the method that I created. When you eat swine, when you eat pork,
Mm-hmm.
so your body does this thing called create a glycation end product. It's like a sticky protein,
Okay.
and it happens when you eat certain foods.
Okay.
So you can have 15,000 of these events happen per day, and your
Mm-hmm.
body will kind of remove it.
Mm-hmm.
If you eat 3 strips of bacon, it's
Mm-hmm.
90,000. So
Wow.
you're allowed to have 15,000. 3 strips of bacon would be 90,000 of these advanced glycation end products.
Okay.
So in what that does is it binds your muscles together,
Okay.
causes oxidative stress, causes
Okay.
inflammation in the body.
Wow.
Mixing linen and wool is an interesting thing as well. So
Mm-hmm.
all fabric has frequency. Everything
Mm-hmm.
that's living has frequency, right? And there's
Mm-hmm.
3 different kind of frequencies. Some you can't see, like a
Mm-hmm.
rock has a
Mm-hmm.
frequency, but you can't see it.
Okay.
But your linen and wool have frequencies of about 5,000 hertz. Your
Mm-hmm.
body is about say 80 to 100.
80 to 100.
So
Okay.
what's happening is the fabric will be donating electrons back to your
Electron
body,
back to your body.
stabilizing free radicals. Free
Okay.
radicals are causing all this damage and disease. So when you wear
Okay.
linen, it's pairing them back. When you touch
Okay.
your feet on the ground, it pairs it back. When
Okay.
you wear polyester clothes,
Mm-hmm.
you're donating electrons to the fabric,
Okay.
therefore making you sicker.
Wow.
When you mix linen and wool, even though they're both high frequency fabrics, it
Mm-hmm.
creates a dead frequency. The
Mm-hmm.
frequency becomes zero, and therefore it's unhealthy for you, causing
Okay.
that disease again. So I just thought it was kind of interesting that, those two things are major causes of chronic pain. And those were
Okay.
two of the reasons that sort of pushed me away from my faith. But as I went through this process, like I know that I was being guided,
Okay.
I was given the right questions to ask. I
That's
was,
gosh.
just, I don't know. There was so many things. I could tell you another
Mm-hmm.
story if you want me
Mm-hmm.
to tell you another story about one of those instances.
Yes.
You want to tell you? Okay.
Yes.
So, um, I was away in an event and
Mm-hmm.
everyone had gotten sick. Everyone had
Wow.
gotten food poisoning.
My goodness.
So I was trying to think, well, what made us all get food poisoning? And the first thing I thought about was the pineapple. So first of all, I
Okay.
had to qualify for this event through my, other business.
Mm-hmm.
We had to go to the place we went to. They had to
Mm-hmm.
serve pineapple. Everyone had to get sick. I had to think of pineapple as the first thing. There was
Mm-hmm.
many other things being served for,
Mm-hmm.
breakfast that morning. But anyway, I said maybe it was the pineapple. And then a voice in my head, I don't know where this came from, and I did
Mm-hmm.
not know this information, said pineapple contains bromelain.
Wow.
I was like, what's bromelain? So I immediately Googled it, and it says bromelain is used as a commercial meat tenderizer to get rid of fibrosis in livestock.
Wow.
Fibrosis is basically the end result of inflammation.
Yes.
You get fibrosis. A lot of fibrosis is basically fibromyalgia.
Exactly.
So I started, I basically have this big spice racks behind me
Okay.
filled with
Okay.
supplements, and I would put them in my little thing here and test out different
Okay.
supplements. So I started putting the pineapple powder,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
which contains the bromelain, the proteolytic
Promoting. Yeah.
enzymes. And I just started feeling it immediately because there's these active enzymes that are going
Okay.
and cleaving, basically eating the
Mm-hmm.
fibrin, and then the
Mm-hmm.
body can break it apart. They
Okay.
tell you it's scar tissue and you can't get rid of it, the body can't get rid of
Mm-hmm.
it.
Mm-hmm.
It can, but only under the right conditions. And the way that right conditions occur is when something, either mechanically or
Mm-hmm.
a supplement, basically cleaves that bond, and then
Mm-hmm.
the body can get rid of that scar
Mm-hmm.
tissue. And that's, scar tissue is really a fibrin, which is really just part of inflammation, and inflammation being the
Mm-hmm.
root of all disease. That's a very important component to try to get out of your body. So,
And
yeah,
then
but I don't, yeah,
and then Daniel, that what very concerned me, you think about like a people, for example, can eat many meats like pork and bacon. It does meat contain some kind of like a bacteria that can make people sick, because I remember people tell don't eat a lot of pork, because me myself I don't eat pork. I don't eat pork because the pork can have like a little worms in that, even
yeah.
if the pork is dead, but that those worms never die. What do you think about that?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So there's parasites in pork, and so
Mm-hmm.
the pork, they'll be in these cysts that you can't cook out,
Mm-hmm.
and so they stay there forever. And pork itself is a never-ending decaying meat. It
Yeah,
constantly
that's what.
decays. It's really not good for you at
Mm-hmm.
all, and it's there's just better meats for you that are much more healthier, has much denser nutrient
Okay.
profiles. One of the things that I tested during this whole journey was going carnivore. So I
Okay.
started eating liver and kidney and heart, things like that. And it's interesting how those foods have become vilified because they're actually, in terms of what your body can uptake,
Okay.
right? Meaning it's bioavailable. Your meats are the most bioavailable forms of nutrition on the planet. Liver
Yeah.
is the most nutrient dense food on the planet. And the whole idea that cholesterol is bad for you is one
Mm-hmm.
of the great sort of farces that has been played upon the American public,
Okay.
because cholesterol is a very vital nutrient. 90% of your brain weight is cholesterol. Every
Mm-hmm.
cell in your body is wrapped in cholesterol. your sex hormones are reliant upon cholesterol, and
Cholesterol.
your body has a natural set of enzymes that's going to limit the amount of cholesterol that can be
Mm-hmm.
produced based on your body's
Mm-hmm.
needs,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then the statins that people are getting prescribed these days, the newest studies coming out show that you have to be on them for 5 years to get
Wow.
3 extra days of life.
Oh my
So,
goodness.
and then all the side effects that come along
Okay.
with it. But yeah, yeah, there's meat is a really important component to a healthy diet. I actually created a spreadsheet. So
Mm-hmm.
you have 90 nutrients, minerals, fats, and amino acids that are
Mm-hmm.
essential to the
Mm-hmm.
body. When you start looking at the food categories that I created and below it, you would see that you would need like 50 cups of spinach to get the amount of like vitamin or iron, from spinach. And then
Okay.
it's not the right type of iron that your body
Mm-hmm.
needs. Vegetables are not very nutrient dense, and your stomach has to have perfect stomach health, gut
Okay.
health to make the conversion, right?
That's
So
good.
most people can't even convert it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I very and I like your comment about the pork because I remember I met a guy. He have the seizure that he had. He told me about. He used to eat a lot of pork, and then we realized that the pork have a lot of parasite, and then he didn't know that, and then all the parasite come to his brain, and he's not a doctor, but he's still paralyzed. And then realize that the meat is very important, but I believe that vegetable is better than meat. And then all the things that related to sickness, they come from meat because sometimes the cow or the pork could be sick. You don't know. Sometimes they can have what I call that cancer because most of the places they don't have vet that can analyze those animals before they kill them. And then how come you go into kill animals that have affected by cancer? Don't know because you're not vet. And those kind of meat that you're going to put to eat as human, this kind of sickness, they produce in our lives. They produce it in our
Mhm.
body. And then that's why if they eat it, and all this cancer also go to your body because you all the same the same way of animal. You get the same way. In this case, I believe that pork especially sometimes it is the worst food people can eat. Not because it is not it's good, but according to doctors, I just mentioned and I read it somewhere as well. Pork is very dangerous
Yeah, the
meat.
pork industry is, yeah, that if you've probably seen some of the videos of how those animals live. I mean, they
Mm-hmm.
live in really bad
Yeah,
conditions. They
most of the,
eat a
most of them.
lot of garbage. They
Yeah,
don't
garbage,
eat
exactly.
food. Yeah. So when I get my meat, I actually have it delivered, and it's pretty
Mm-hmm.
inexpensive from a place called Wild Pastures.
Those
And then
pastures,
Wild
okay.
Alaska is where I get my fish delivered from. So these
Mm-hmm.
are all farms that farm raise their animals, right? They're not, well, the chicken and the cow, they're out eating grass. The
Mm-hmm.
chickens are out pecking around on the ground like they should be, not being
Yeah,
fed
yeah,
this grain and
exactly.
corn diet, making them
Mm-hmm.
sick. Yeah, and then the
Exactly.
the fish are all caught in the ocean, no farm raised
Mm-hmm.
fish. That there's a lot of parasites in certain fish as well, especially if they're farm raised. So yeah, it is really important to
Mm-hmm.
make good choices. But I think overall, in general, your red meats and some chicken, if it's raised well, is kind of a crucial part of your diet
Mm-hmm.
because you
Mm-hmm.
can't get the nutrients that
Mm-hmm.
you want to be, just to make your body work.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Without eating your meats. I mean, there's two sets of genes. There's a methylation cycle, is how your body basically utilizes nutrition. There's a set of genes called MTRR. And
MTR.
so
Okay.
what they do is recycle this molecule called homocysteine,
Mm-hmm.
which is a widely implicated in depression,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it transforms it into a thing called methionine,
Mm-hmm.
which then helps regulate your dopamine, your
Mm-hmm.
reward center. But those two genes must have B12 in
Okay.
order for them to work. And there's no B12 in the plant kingdom whatsoever. It's really
Mm-hmm.
mainly in your red meats.
Your red
So
meat. Okay.
yeah, and so that's why you'll see like vegetarians, like they'll feel good once they start going vegetarian, but after a while, they might start having some mental health challenges, some
Okay.
depression challenges, because they're unable to convert that molecule, that depression molecule,
Okay.
into, sort of their reward center, their
Okay, I
happiness, their
got you.
dopamine reward center.
I
Yeah.
got you. Thank you for
Yeah.
letting us know. It's a new knowledge that people can learn from. And then
Yeah.
Dan, what kind of message you can have those people who have been facing the same situation that you had in the past? How can help them to overcome them in in a in a nutshell?
Yeah, so it's very hard because chronic pain, once again, I don't think you can, it's you're in fight or flight, which
Mm-hmm.
is anxiety, which kind of means you're angry when you're in
Mm-hmm.
chronic pain all the time. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a tough audience
Mm-hmm.
to get the message across to because
Mm-hmm.
they've
Mm-hmm.
been in pain for so long. Their
Mm-hmm.
doctors do not have any training in chronic pain.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so, you know, it's seek and ye shall find.
Yep.
Really, that
Yeah.
is the answer for me. I said I was going to fix it, and I just
Mm-hmm.
started looking for solutions.
Mm-hmm.
There are natural ways to do it. I mean, and if people don't have, like I said, I have a supplement that I created called
Mm-hmm.
Flexibility Fuel.
For
It's
flexibility. Okay.
for me, if people take that and they're in chronic pain, it usually starts working for probably
Okay.
80+% of people within the first 2 weeks. They
Okay.
start feeling things happen. Even if you don't want to buy my supplement, on my website are the ingredients. You
Okay.
can just go on my website and get those ingredients and put it together yourself, right?
Then what is the website?
It's undu
Okay, NDU.
dot me, so
Okay.
undo.me. And then I have a program called the Undo Method, which basically lets you know here are the enemy, here's the
Okay.
enemy, these
Okay.
conditions, right? They
Okay.
leave behind these things. And these are the scientifically proven ways, based on medical studies, there are
Okay.
third-party medical studies, to basically break these things apart, right? And eat, once again, if you can't afford the supplements that I have listed, I have
Mm-hmm.
all the foods where you can find these things as
Okay.
well. So you could just easily change your diet to a diet that would contain these things, and maybe those things would start helping.
Okay.
For $13.69, it's a monthly subscription. You can get through it in a week.
Okay. That's
So for
good. That's good.
$13, or you can buy it for $169, and
Mm-hmm.
they give you a
Mm-hmm.
free bottle of flexibility
Mm-hmm.
fuel and you have it forever.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted to make it accessible to people who are in chronic pain, because a lot of us aren't able to work,
Yes,
right?
I
So
saw them. I
yeah.
saw them.
And so for $13, less than
Mm-hmm.
$14, you can get in there, you can go through the whole program. It's me talking over each one of the slides, giving
Okay.
you an insight to what's causing the chronic pain,
Mm-hmm.
how to reverse it, how to do some extra things like grounding or
Mm-hmm.
nose breathing,
Mm-hmm.
etc., and the science behind why those things work, so you can be intentional in your healing. And then really, I just want to give people hope. Like, there is a
Mm-hmm.
solution out there for chronic
Mm-hmm.
pain.
Mm-hmm.
It's just
Perfect.
modern medicine doesn't want to put it all together. All the
Yes.
studies are
Yes.
out there.
Oh,
It's all there.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Then I really appreciate all the information that provided to all listeners. Especially you help us understand that we have to balance the meat and the vegetables. They both go together. In this
Yeah.
case, you people or listeners, if you're facing chronic pains today, you get a remedy for you tonight. Dan Esposito can help you get rid of that. Visit his website, and all the information that I'm going to paste on the show, you're going to be able to click on it and go directly to his website to enjoy all the benefits you're going to enjoy to beat up your chronic pains, because it not only he bringing the remedy now, experience it for himself, because the word says when you know the sickness, you experience it, you can know how to relate to that, and you can bring the remedy. And then Daniel now bring the remedy to you. He knows how to cure that chronic pain. Join him, you'll be free from that chronic pain.
So the one thing I want to say, if I can, I'm not allowed to say cure.
Or cure,
So
or
that's,
to
yeah, the
beat that.
FDA will get on me, but yeah, I can put you in a better position.
Better
Yeah, yeah.
position. Okay, let's
Yeah,
say
yeah,
that gonna help you a better
yeah.
position.
Yeah,
Thank you
yeah.
for clarifying.
Yes, sir.
Sometimes you cannot try to do our best, but if the sickness still continue, you cannot be in better position. Thank you, Dan, and then
Thank
we're
you so
going to
much,
reach
Daniel.
out to you another day for another interview with DB Podcast. Thank you,
Awesome.
listeners. Thank you, Dan. Have a
Thank you
wonderful
so
time.
much.
May God keep on helping you, blessing you. Bye bye, everybody.